Hoos fans have had a tough 5 days dating back to last Friday. Today, we will discuss Coach Bennett's sudden retirement. We will also look back to the loss versus Clemson on Saturday. Plus, exciting news, we have a new sponsor. We will have our inaugural Mincer's Moment of the Week. All of us tonight on the Cavalier Connection. Welcome in to today's edition of the Cavalier Connection, coming at you on a different day here on a Wednesday. I'm your host, Jeff, joined by my longtime partner in crime, Jay. How are you tonight, Jay?
Doing great. So much news going on right now around Virginia, and just a lot to talk about. So good to go ahead and get an early pod in this week.
Yeah, it's been a tough past week. And just to start out, we'll go in reverse order, I guess. So it'd be like the India episode on Seinfeld where they went in reverse, because this one happened last. But this past Saturday, the Hoos traveled to Clemson and went down to Clemson 48-31, playing in front of the largest crowd they played in front of all year in Clemson. And dropping the Hoos to 4-3. They did cover the spread there at the end. Tony Musket came in and moved the ball around a little bit. Jay, what were your initial thoughts from the game?
Well, I think if you'd just told me the final score, I would have probably said we looked okay. We were probably respectable. It would pretty much win as we thought it would go as far as the spread and whatnot. But what was your final score prediction, Jeff? I don't think I ever saw it.
Yeah, so unfortunately,
you didn't.
I didn't make one. Full disclosure, of course, I had to work all day Saturday, so I was there. I was at work from 8:30 till I think around 7 at night, so I didn't even get to see the game. I was able to hold off knowing an outcome until I got home, and I was able to watch the game around 7:30. And I thought about it once the game started. I was like, crap, I didn't give a final score prediction. So I know you were sniffing around.
Yeah, I actually thought that this could be my day. It was 41-17, and we were driving with Musket at about 7 minutes to go, and I thought, well, we get held here. They run, punt, then we, don't, run out the clock, whatever. But they quickly put it into that. My gosh. It was one of those games where I think the beginning kind of gave me hope, which made the result a little bit tougher to accept. When we came out, and I didn't like the first 3 plays that we ran. I mean, I didn't mind running, but when you just run and you end up punting, you get 8 yards on first down, and then you can't pick up the 2 you need. It's frustrating. But anyway, Clemson goes down. We hold them to 3, and then we have that long drive. And this was like the first play where I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Well, we have 3rd and 1 from the 3. What do? Instead of bringing in the Grady Bunch, and if you need 2 downs to get a yard with the Grady Bunch, it's at this point we could say that's about a 99% chance you're going to get it.
All right.
But instead, we throw a pass. I guess trying to catch them off guard, them thinking we're good. But if you don't bring Grady in, then they don't have to respect that quarterback sneak at all. If they were going to throw the pass, I'd almost rather them still brought in Grady and just said, hey, throw the pass off of it. But anyway, and then the real head scratcher, though, was to say, okay, on 4th down, we're not going to come back and run the Grady Bunch. We're just going to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Whereas last week in a 7-7 game, which was defensive battle, we go for it, 4th and 3 or 4, from the 3 with no first down option. Yeah. This one, you had a first down option inside the 3 that you could have gotten. So it was just really head scratcher on like, what are you doing there? You take the points, but then Cam got the interception and we drove right down and got the touchdown. And I think I even tweeted, something could be brewing down in South Carolina. And then that was just quickly. It was like you slapped somebody in the face that really didn't want to fight you, and now you pissed them off, and they beat your hind parts for the next 2.5 hours.
Right.
But it was ugly, really. I mean, we couldn't do anything at all. And it really started up front. Their offensive and defensive lines dominated. I think I also tweeted they were opening holes that I could run through. And I mean that. Like those holes were just huge. And it's not even like they're better than us. You know that, and that their linemen are bigger, stronger, faster athletes and all that. So it wasn't a surprise, but I guess it's just disappointing when you start out well. And if you'd have scored the first touchdown, then gotten the interception and you're up 14-3, now you put a little game pressure on them. Maybe Klubnik throws you another one because he's down 11, and it could have snowballed. You just don't know. So I just didn't, in that middle frame where, after we scored that touchdown until Tony came in, it was just ugly football, both sides. Really nothing positive out of any of it. But, I'll say this. Tony came in and looked really good. And I know it's against some backups, but, their backups are still 4-star kids, so you're still playing, really good athletes on the other side. So, decisive with the ball. I like that. I'm beginning to see, I think, why at the beginning of last year we went with Musket. Obviously, Calandria was the first year, so even less seasoned than he is now. Can't pin it all on AC. I mean, obviously, he didn't have a whole lot of time to throw it. There were no holes to really run through. They're just, as Tony Elliott said after the game, we knew this would be a kind of a program benchmark kind of game where you say, okay, where are we as a program? And nationally, we're light years from being competitive.
With big boys.
Right.
Yeah. Like Petty Hawk said, even though Musket came in and was moving the ball, and that's really, those backups are starters in most places.
Right.
But the one thing I will say about Calandria, and I was reading today that Coach Elliott was saying he hasn't been throwing interceptions, but he needs him to play more aggressive and take some more chances, because I think Virginia has held him back a little bit as far as I don't know if it's the play calling, but I think there's been such an emphasis on him being reckless with the football that's taken away some of his what makes him good.
Because he hasn't had those magical plays.
This doesn't look anything like last year. Nothing.
No.
And there's more weapons now, in my opinion, than last year. So I just feel like he's playing just to not, he's like, he doesn't want to lose the game for us. But
right.
We need magical Calandria who's going to just go make some plays. That run he made in the Maryland game, although it wasn't a great decision, with the time on the clock,
right.
That's the Calandria we need. We need that Calandria to go out there and take some chances. Throw a pick here or there, but throw me 4 touchdowns.
Right.
Well, I just think he's just playing a hair too conservative. I definitely go ahead.
I was going to say, some of that too is knowing when to take the chance.
Right.
If you're coming off of a long touchdown drive by the other team, you can't go out and immediately, throw a pick, but if we force a turnover or we get a 3 and out, we get good field position, don't be afraid to take a shot. I mean, you got some big, good receivers out there. And like you said, I agree 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Is he's playing very conservatively, and Virginia's not good enough to have a conservative play at quarterback. He's got to be a difference maker. He can't just be average, and he's played just average.
Yeah. And then, some of the other takeaways, when I tuned into the game and in my brain, I was prepared for an L. We start off hot. I'm like, there's no way. And, but, like you said, the first possession, in a game like that versus Clemson, and you got, it was 2nd and 2 on that first drive. What did we talk about last week? Work the clock. We needed to control the ball. Why not 2 Grady bunches? Why not 3 Grady bunches if it takes it?
Right.
And get the first down. And then the one, I knew you were going to hit it. It's just unbelievable to kick that field goal on 4th and 1. Where first of all, we were at 3rd and 1. Why not go to the Grady bunch? Let's say you said 99%. Let's say it works 90% of the time. That means 9 out of 10 times. So if you run it twice, we need a yard. That's run the Grady bunch, because dang well field goals are not going to beat Clemson. You can't beat Clemson with field goals. We like you said, they're just they're 4- and 5-star athletes. They're just a little bit better than our guys, athletically. So you got to figure a way to make up for that. And I think that Klubnik, I don't even think he played well. Like
he played horrible in the first half.
He missed on some
came
passes.
Around a little bit.
He missed on some passes that bailed us out.
Yeah.
And overthrows, the interception he threw to Cam Robinson. If not,
several plays, they showed the one on replay where their guy just broke past our safety.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure which safety. It wasn't Jonas. I'm not sure which one it was. I can't remember. Whoever it was the guy just went past him.
Right.
Like it was like we were playing an underneath route, and he just and Klubnik didn't even see him. Never threw the ball there. So
right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like you said, if I saw that final score, I'd be like, dang, that must have been a good game. I hate to say this is kind of what we expected. Actually, I said I didn't give a final score, but I did say I think in our last episode I would have took Clemson in the spread, and I would have lost that bet. So still the season's in front of us to try to find a way to make a bowl game. And in our next episode, we're going to be talking about the big one coming up with Clemson. With North Carolina, which is definitely must win. If you want to go to a bowl, you got to win that game.
Yeah, if you don't win that game, you have no chance. Yeah. We're not going to win two of the last, 4. So
anyway, tough loss, but we move on. We're now 4-3 and get ready for North Carolina. So, well, as we've talked about the last game, we also have some exciting news here at the Cavalier Connection, and that is our newest sponsor, Mincers. And so attention to all UVA fans. If you're looking to gear up in style, look no further than Mincers. They offer high-quality, well-designed, long-lasting UVA sportswear that every Cavalier supporter will love. From T-shirts to polos, sweatshirt, cozy sweatshirts, and also that trendy hat that Jay's wearing came right from Mincers. They have something for everybody. Don't miss out on their orange tag deals as well. There's always a way to save. Since 1948, how long is that, Jay? That's 76 years. Mincers has proudly served the UVA community, making it a true staple for the UVA fans. Jay and I, we remember visiting Mincers for the first time about 30 years ago as teenagers.
Yep.
And it's a family tradition we cherish.
Yep.
So if you want to represent UVA with pride and style, head over to Mincers today and find your perfect gear. You can go to Mincers.com or visit one of their 2 locations in Charlottesville. That's bringing us to our Mincers moment of the week.
For Virginia.
Klubnik will get another play off. Downfield, dangerous pass, and it's intercepted. Cam Robinson makes the pick, and Klubnik may have saved the touchdown by bringing down 5.
That is our Mincers moment of the week. Cam Robinson when we still had some hope with that big interception. And it's like, oh boy, and we go down the field and we get a touchdown. So congratulations to Cam Robinson, our inaugural first time, if you don't know what that means, winner of the Mincer's Moment of the Week.
Yeah, I freaking love going into Mincer's. Like, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I mean, when you walk in, and honestly, I really remember the first time I ever went in there.
Yep.
And I remember the racks being outside with the sale items. I don't even know if I made it in the store for the first 20 minutes because I'm looking on them racks. I mean, there's so much good stuff, you know, on the sale racks. And then by the time you go in, it's like, it was overwhelming as a kid.
Yep.
It's overwhelming as an adult because, you know, we're working on a budget and you want to buy everything in the store.
Yeah. So shout out to Butch. Butch, I know you got to be listening. Butch took Jay and I to the Mincer's the first time we ever visited. And I can tell you, I can pretty dang well tell you, I remember I bought a blue long sleeve t-shirt. It was Champion brand. And that was one of a few things I bought, but I just remember this and I just can't remember what was on the shirt, but it was Champion was red hot at the time. Champion, we're open to another sponsorship, but Champion brand long sleeve t-shirt UVA that I purchased. And to go along with many other things, I came home from the game and I was telling my parents, like, man, they got this store's all UVA gear.
Yep, I was the same way. And then we go back in there quite a bit and enjoy it just as much now as a 45-year-old.
No doubt.
And I look forward to it just as much now as I did then. So
yeah.
I'm so happy to have them as a part of our show because they mean so much to us and our families and their family business. And we just love Mincer. So please support them and tell them the Cavalier Connection sent you.
Yeah, tell them. And this weekend for North Carolina, Virginia, actually, Shannon, which is my wife, and Mason will be going down with Jack and I, and so we'll be making the trip into Mincer's post game because early game this weekend. So, yep, go visit our friends at Mincer's. Moving on, we just talked about a lot of positive and woo woo. Now back to ooh. We got tough news this past week. I know we went live earlier on or late Thursday evening when the word started slipping out, discussing the announcement that Tony Bennett on Friday was going to be retiring from the University of Virginia as their head basketball coach. As the time has gone by, Jay, any other thoughts to this retirement?
Yeah, watched the press conference on Friday, as I know you did as well. Tony kind of explained why now. I think that was the biggest question everybody had. Why now? And it's funny. When he talked about the vacation he took with his wife, it was 30, 45 minutes from me on the Rappahannock River. The tide's in. Super nice place. Not somewhere I can afford to go, but I know exactly where it is. Super nice.
I don't know why you weren't there.
Man, I just thought because I almost Googled like the map way to go because I'm almost sure he had to go through West Point, which is where I'm at, to get there. Like you come down 64 is how I would imagine him going. And then you circle right through West Point and go out that way. I was thinking, what if I was at the stoplight because we ain't got it. Two of them.
Right.
And look across and see Coach Bennett. But
I'm sure he had a whole motorcade driving him through West Point.
Yeah, I'm sure. But
heading you from the crazies like the Jay Ballers of the world.
Yeah, I'd have probably just nudged him in the back, caused a little accident just so I could get him out of the vehicle. But
we just see what kind of Christian man he was.
But anyway, yeah, I mean it's understandable to me. If it was obvious he had issues with the way the NCAA was operating and the way things have been going. He made it very clear he supported athletes getting paid, as I think most people think they should, but there's got to be some regulation to it. And it's right now the Wild Wild West. You can just pay. Oh, come here, we'll give you 150. Come here, we'll give you 200K. come here, we'll give you $300K. And it's nothing about culture in that. It's nothing about, and everything is a 1-year deal, because if they're not happy after a year, they just enter the portal. And while, it's hard to complain about the portal because Virginia benefited so much this offseason from it, you can't complain about it and then also do it. It's hard to, kind of seem hypocritical. And I think Tony just struggled with that. He said his coaches had pulled him along. They handled all of the agent stuff. And so, to get to a point, I think, where, and honestly, when he said this, it struck a chord with me because, I used to coach, the JV, help out with the varsity or whatever. It got to a point where I didn't enjoy winning. I just enjoyed not losing. And you know how competitive I am. And it's just not fun. Like, when you can't enjoy winning, it's just not, it was hard to continue because it's just stressful all the time. There's no real relief. And Tony talked about the schedule, no real relief there. I think it's just a pressure cooker that he had enough of. And, when his voice was breaking, as a grown man, I could have cried. I mean, I didn't, but like, man, I don't like to see people I care about breaking up like that, and seeing him get upset and voice cracking and stuff, it bothered me just because I know how much he cares about the program, obviously. So, and I'd love to see him be the next AD.
Right.
I don't know.
Watching him look at his players, every time when he wanted to talk about his players or his coaches, he looked and he faced them. I, looked at him, at each of them as he said what he's wanted to say. Did you see today? I think it's BYU, $4 million for a basketball player. That's
no.
Yeah.
Is that like legitimate?
Yes. I saw that earlier this evening before I started getting our stuff ready for this episode. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff. And, that's the kind of stuff that Tony Bennett is trying to get out of that business of. So,
and then what are you going to tell that kid? How are you going to coach him? You're going to sit him on the bench when somebody is paying that kid $4 million to come play.
He's going to be making more than the coach is.
Absolutely, at BYU.
In college.
Yeah.
This isn't
the NBA. Tony was around for.
Right. And he's elite.
Right. So what are you going to tell that kid? Like, it's he said this in the conference as well. It's more like the professional model, and it needs to be regulated. But there's a lot of issues to work through, But for us, basketball goes on. You saw the scrimmage results from the very next day. And I just want to say, people out there that may have just seen the score when we secretly scrimmage VCU, don't fret. It doesn't mean anything. We didn't play IMAC. We didn't play Day. And there was another player that
Christian Bliss.
Yeah, Bliss. Bliss didn't play. I'm only going to choose to look at the positives. Friend of the show from San Diego State transfer,
Elijah Saunders.
He had 19, and I'm going to look at that as a positive, and just say that I hope that it was like minor injuries, because what we do know is that the transfer portal was open for 30 days. And so my mind went to immediately, why are they not playing the next day when the transfer portal window is open? Is there any connection to that? IMAC, I'm sure it's not. He's already posted something about like year three.
Yeah.
But for the Day and
Christian
Bliss, I don't know. We'll see. Because season's going to kick off here in about 2 weeks from now or so. But I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe that is the case. But they have that option. So
yeah, I think they're gonna. I think that they're gonna. This is once again no source. This is Jeff Lowe's brain says they're gonna stay this year. Now after this season, depending on how the season goes, now that could be a whole different situation, and there you may see some You always see a little transferring it out every year,
Mhm.
it seems like. Anyway, but then when you add the coaching change, I'm gonna read this quote real quick from Ron Sanchez. I had just seen Ron Sanchez says, "The players want the Virginia way, and that is something that is cemented into this space. Our leadership has changed, but the institution has not." So that's Coach Sanchez, who's taken over the team, and I'm excited to see what he does. I'm glad it stayed in the family. The University of Virginia has been such a great family atmosphere, and the players returning and the whole thing. I'd like to see what he can do. There was also some reports out there. It made me. I was like, what the heck? That Ed Cooley is going to replace Tony Bennett, Virginia. You seen that crap?
I saw somebody put that out there on social media that he had
These were
dropped.
legit
He was
reporters.
interested. Well,
And
he
that's
had
what
said he
doesn't
was
make any
interested. That doesn't mean the university's interested in him.
Right. And
Ed
there's
Cooley's
another
a really good coach. He's at a tough spot with Georgetown. I don't think he's doing.
Yeah.
It's hard to win there at this point in time. But
This is, and then there's another one right here that I only seen it earlier today. I was like, what? Like, we wouldn't do that. Like, not now. That wouldn't make any sense.
oh yeah, and neither would he. I wouldn't think.
Right.
Another name that has been dropped that I think is interesting is Coach Odom at
Yep.
VCU.
Yep.
And I do like that one actually. He's got ties to Virginia with his dad, Dave Odom, great coach. It was at Wake Forest for quite a while. Started at UVA under Coach Holland. So a lot of people, Jeff, have asked why Sanchez over Williford.
Yep.
And I know you had talked to one of our sources on that, and why don't you tell the folks what the source had to say?
Sources say Williford's leaving. I'm just playing. So
This is breaking news.
Breaking news. No, sources tell me that Williford is happy in his current position and really didn't have any desire to become the head coach at Virginia. He likes what he does. He likes his role. And, sometimes in life, it's not about, having the power or all the money. It's about liking your role and playing that role and being good at that. And apparently he's happy with it. Because we wondered, like, you pick Coach Sanchez, and you can see reasons why you would pick Sanchez over Williford. But
you could also see reasons you would pick Williford over Sanchez.
That's correct. I'm just going off of head coaching experience stuff. But Williford's the Virginia from his college playing career all the way through now.
Right.
And he's stuck there all the way through.
Right.
But sources are telling me that Williford is thrilled with his position. So, it looks like the family wants to stay together, keep the band together, and let's move on.
And I like it. I like, there's Chiefs and Indians,
Oh yeah.
And sometimes the best Indian doesn't make a good chief. And not to say that Coach Williford wouldn't be, because I think he would.
Right.
But there's something to be said for, like, in my job at work, we had a guy who's no longer with us, but he was the best at what we do. And he went to be the supervisor. Could have been a great supervisor. But they wanted to make sure that we didn't get weak in the department. So they didn't want to make him supervisor, because then he wouldn't be doing his job anymore and he wouldn't be doing what he was great at. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, sometimes it's just better to, like you said, they're well compensated. It's not like he's not able to put food on the table with what he's making.
Right.
So
Tony Bennett always took care of his assistants. He knew their importance.
Yeah.
And really, and just knowing that they were handling all the, I hate to call it the dirty work.
Right.
But the gritty work that he just didn't want any parts of.
And apparently the decision came from Carla, not from Coach Bennett.
Right.
I'm sure if she'd have said, Jason, we want it to be you, I mean, he probably would have taken it. But I think it makes the situation a whole lot easier that he is not like, I'm gone because they didn't choose me, And it says a lot about his character, servanthood. That's one of the pillars. And I think he is a perfect servant.
Yeah, I like how they're keeping all that right in the family. It's the number one recruit, AJ DeBansta, who is expected to land an NIL package north of $3 million and could get as high as $4 million.
Is he at least Mormon?
It appears that the Jazz owner Ryan Smith and executive Danny Ainge are all in on BYU basketball, trying to get them, and there's been a open checkbook.
Is this LeBron?
Right. LeBron, I don't know what, but yeah. So, well, that's going to wrap us up for today's episode. We want to make sure that you guys come check us out on YouTube. Give us a subscribe at the Cavalier Connection on X. We are sitting at Talk UVA Sports, and also on Instagram. We are at the _Cavalier Connection, Cavalier _Connection _ Facebook as well, at the Cavalier Connection. There's so much to remember there.
It is.
I was trying to flash it up on the screen. I finally got it up after I got halfway through stumbling, rumbling, bumbling through it. So, yep. So, tune in to us. We'll be back again on Friday as well with our UNC preview, and also our best 3 bets where the Cavalier Connection has stayed hot. We didn't do too bad last weekend. We weren't.
You won't find our picks at cavaliergold.com. You won't find our picks there. But you can take the money that you win off of our picks and invest it in cavaliergold.com.
That's it. And so all we can do is we can direct you how to win. So you're going to have to check us out because we're hot. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great afternoon. Go Hoos.